Welcome to our SketchUp tutorial. Before you even get started, you are going to have to create a folder in your Google Drive to save your projects. If you've never created a folder, click the plus sign and then name the folder SketchUp Models. Now open your SketchUp app just like you did in the last video. The first thing you see is Dr. Temple Grandin. Dr. Grandin is a very special woman who is well known as an advocate for animal welfare. She's a professor, author, inventor, and speaker. She's also an inspiration to people with autism. SketchUp included her as the model in SketchUp for Schools because they wanted students to know that there is no challenge too big when you're chasing your dream. The model of Dr. Grandin is there so you can judge the size of your models. Click on Dr. Grandin and then hit the delete key. We're not going to be using her this week. The next thing you want to do is name your model. Click the word Untitled and give it a name. I'll name mine Sculpture since that's what we're making. Next, click OK and then select the SketchUp Models folder that you made a few minutes ago. Now, if you click on the Google Drive and then the SketchUp folder, you'll be able to see the model that you just created. Let's first talk about the toolbar. The arrow is the selection tool. This is what you use to select different parts of the model. There is an eraser tool to create joined objects and erase parts that you don't need. It's not just for mistakes. There's a fill tool that we'll talk about in week 3. To create shapes, you have a line tool, an arc tool, and a shapes tool. The rest of the tools we'll go over as we need them. When you click on them, they open up to give you more options on how to use that tool. On the right side of the screen, you have the instructor. What's great about the instructor is that it gives you all the information and tips that you need about that tool. When you click a different tool, the instructor gives you the information about that tool. The bottom bar is also a great help. Here you will find the undo and redo. It also tells you what tool is selected and gives you hints on how you can use it and options to help with that tool. Let's start by drawing a rectangle. Click on the Shapes tool and then the rectangle. Click once to start the rectangle, pull away, and click to finish. A quick note about drawing in SketchUp. Get in the habit of click and releasing your mouse button to start and finish most actions. This will be true for most all of the tools in SketchUp. Unless I specifically tell you to click and drag your mouse, always click and release to start and finish each action. Right next to the name of your model, there is a save icon. Don't forget to click on it often so that you can save your model and you don't lose your progress. When you're making a rectangle, notice in the bottom bar that it tells you by clicking the Control key will make the first place you click the center of the rectangle. Click the Control key again and the point goes back to being the corner. I can draw rectangles in different ways too. If I'm careful, I can get the rectangle to follow the red axis and then the blue axis to get my rectangle to stand up. Pause the video and practice making some rectangles. When you're done, you can click undo or you can use the select tool to click and drag a selection box around all the rectangles and then hit delete. Now make another rectangle. Pull away and watch the lower right of the screen to see how dimensions change as you adjust the size of your rectangle. Click again to finish the rectangle. You can be as precise with SketchUp as you like. Although it doesn't seem you're being accurate, everything in SketchUp has a real-world scale. Now let's move on to the next tool. The Push-Pull tool takes your two-dimensional shape and raises it up to make it three-dimensional. Now you've created a box. Click to finish. The Push-Pull tool will literally push or pull on any surface. Try it on the box. Click the side to pull it out and click to finish. Then click on this side to push it in and click to finish. Now let's combine more rectangles with the Push-Pull tool. Select the Rectangle tool so that we can draw a rectangle on the side of our existing box. Watch as SketchUp gives you reference points as you draw. For example, to draw this corner, SketchUp snaps to the point and gives you a green endpoint. Pull away and click to finish the rectangle. Now use the push-pull tool to push this surface inward. The drawing tools all work on the surface that you are drawing on. For example, this time when we select the Shape tool, click on the circle. Draw a circle on one of your surfaces. Simply click to start, pull out the radius, and click again to finish. Now draw a few more circles on the various surfaces to see how the orientation aligns with the surface you're drawing on. Use the Push-Pull tool to create some cylinders. Select the Rectangle tool again to draw a rectangle on a different face. Notice the red dot showing that you are on the edge. Pull the rectangle down to the lower edge showing a red dot. Pull this rectangle inward. All reference points are called inference points in SketchUp. They will be very helpful in making you both accurate and fast. The basic inference points are endpoints, on the edge, midpoints, and center points. There are more, but these are the most common. Before we go any further, we need to talk about navigation. First, we're going to look at the Orbit tool. Click and drag to view your model from left to right and up and down. For practice, try orbiting fully around your object. Next is the Pan tool. It moves your object side to side without orbiting. Click and drag your model around the screen. The final navigation tool is Zoom. Click and drag to move closer and further away from the model. Now try practicing using Orbit, Pan, and Zoom. Pause the video if you need some extra time. Navigating is essential to SketchUp, but picking the icons is slow, which is why you can also navigate with the scroll wheel of your mouse. Roll the scroll wheel forward and backward to zoom in and out. To zoom into one specific spot, hover the cursor over the specific point on your model and then use the scroll wheel. See how it zooms towards that corner? Using the scroll wheel will zoom towards or away from wherever your cursor is, making navigation easier. Press the scroll wheel down to orbit. Press the scroll wheel down and hold the Shift key on your keyboard to pan. Practice navigating again using the scroll wheel for making a much faster experience. Let's just review what we learned by making the beginnings of a modern art sculpture. Let's zoom away from the model and use the Select tool and draw a large selection box around the whole model. Hit the Delete key to delete the model. Let's start with the rectangle and use the Push-Pull tool to pull it into a box. Create another rectangle from the corner. Now pull that up. To make different shaped surfaces, we can use the Line tool to connect two endpoints to create a triangular surface and then pull that. We can also use the Two-Point Arc tool to create different shapes. Have fun creating your own modern art sculpture. Be sure to save it in your Google Drive and upload it to Google Classroom assignment when you're done.